All right, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to wherever you might be joining us from. This is TopDonn right here in Conversations with TopDonn. Hopefully, you're keeping warm. It's been cold all through across the states. Watu wa Dallas naona nchi imewapeleka mbaya sana, lakini sio shida. Tonight's topic is business ownership in the diaspora. So very glad today to be joined by two business owners who've done very well for themselves. Joining me top right is Mumbi Baskin from Afrika Fusion, based in Dallas, Texas. Karibu Mumbi.
Asante. Thank
Okay.
you for having me.
No problem. And joining us in the bottom column here is Mr. Elias Mati, Mr. Mati Hype, all the way from Jambo Grill in Kansas City. Mati, karibu.
Thank you, TopDonn. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, offline earlier today, I was giving Marty a hard time about the Kansas City Chiefs, but I told him I won't give him any more of a hard time right now. So so we'll get right into it. I'll just let both of you go ahead and give us a brief synopsis of what your business is, what your business does, and then we'll go through the agenda that we have that a lot of people want to get into. So I'll start with Mumbi. Mumbi, go ahead.
Thank you, Don. Again, as you heard, my name is Mumbi. I reside in Dallas, Texas. I am the CEO of Afrika Fusion restaurant in Dallas, Texas, established in 2011. Thank God that we are still in business. It's been a very tough time, especially with COVID. But other than that, just a big gratitude to all my customers, my DFW Kenyan community, the African community in Dallas, DFW, that we've been able to stay long and have our doors open up to this point. And we're still hoping to keep it going. Thank you.
All right, Mati, go ahead.
All right. As you have Elias Mati, better known as Mati. I'm the manager, part owner of Jambo Grill in Kansas City. We established our business back in 2016, and we're still here through COVID and everything. We can't thank the entire African community out here in Kansas that they keep us going. And we are more of a bar, event center, nightclub. I would say it's a mix up of a lot of things.
All right. You've both touched on something that actually was going to be our first agenda item, which is in this day and age of COVID, we've seen, unfortunately, a lot of businesses actually not survive the pandemic for pretty obvious reasons. But like you've both mentioned, through God's grace, you've both actually been able to maneuver your way through that. For each of you, what do you think the biggest challenges here had been, and kind of why and reasons why you've been able to actually get through that? So Mumbi, I'll let you go first.
First of all, is the grace of God, and secondly, from a business perspective, is that we carry a very unique product for a very unique clientele. So even with COVID, very few people would have been able to go and get ugali elsewhere, unlike Burger King and McDonald's, with all those other chains that do that. So based on our unique product, because we're trying to bring home away from home from a lot of natives of Africa based on the cuisine. For example, if I look at my cuisine, I cut across Africa from south, east, west, and a little bit of Central Africa. That, I believe, is the only reason that I was able to survive and sustain the business, because of its unique product, its unique clientele. I truly attribute 100% to that.
Mati, for Jambo Grill, what do you think? What do you think are the reasons why you were able to actually maneuver through the pandemic?
I would say for us, it was quite a journey. It was quite an experience. It was quite a difficult time, and pretty much I would say it's just more of a partnership that made us get through it, and how our business had been operating, and being more of a entertainment than the offering more of a kitchen. We are more on the base on the entertainment. It was hard for us. It did hit us hard because most of our clientels were late, party goers, and people that just wanted to have a drink and just relax and probably dance. So for us, it was quite a challenge, but we were able to make it through anyway, no matter the situation. Uh, and I would say again, it's more of the patrons that they kept us going. Just those few people who would make it out, grab a drink, just show up, probably have a plate of our nyama choma. Just the customer, the clientele, they had us going.
Okay, that's good. If I look at the business model, so yes, you're both restaurant based, but correct me if I'm wrong. In my view, like Mati, for Jambo Grill, it's a little bit half and half, whereby the actual main product is not really anything from the kitchen. Those are just mainly bitings. Like you've just mentioned, the business model is people coming in, people having drinks, doing that sort of thing. So typically, what is your day-to-day role like in actually managing the business and creating business plans, seeing how things are going, knowing what should be done, what's missing, things like those. I think that's what people need to want to find out.
Speaking on Jambo, when we started Jambo, we were just a group of brothers that had, I would say, a love for music. We were all DJs, and we used to DJ at that location to the previous owner. So most of the time, we would end the night and stand out there, have a conversation, talk about owning the venue, owning such a venue. So when we went into business, we started as, we were looking for a location whereby we can not be hired to DJ anymore, but we can just take ownership of bringing entertainment to the consumers, to the people that were looking for something, something special, African music, something more diverse. And that's how we got into it. We weren't thinking about the kitchen. We weren't thinking about pretty much food services. We're just thinking about people dancing, loud music, entertainment, and drinks, So that kept us more focused on that side. And with the years, as we went by, the first thing we were trying to open, and we were told, oh, the kitchen has to be running. For you to open the doors in this building, the kitchen has to be running. So now, after doing everything, we're ready to open. Now we have to go back and focus on getting the kitchen ready. So we have been learning through those 6 years on the kitchen side of it, because we had the entertainment side of it, because I used to be a DJ, a promoter, and I've done so many events out here in Kansas City. I've been all over also the state just DJing too. So that side of entertainment, we had it. Now we just, as we are going through, we are still learning a lot about the kitchen. And that's pretty much where most of the money is actually. And we're just trying to, build it as we fly, just still learning and introducing new stuff in the kitchen, and just pretty much it's hard to manage the kitchen if you don't know about it. But now we have a brief, idea, and it's working out pretty much on and off. We just still learning.
All right. I think Mumbi, yours is actually the other way around, where it's like the kitchen base first and then diversify into other stuff. I mean, I was giving Mumbi a hard time a little bit earlier before we came live that whenever I go to Dallas, by the way, this is true. Nikifika Airport to Dallas, the very first place I go without fail is Afrika Fusion, because I know when I go there, every single meal I've ever had there does not disappoint. It is absolutely awesome. So I know when it comes to kitchen, you cannot go wrong with Mumbi. So tell us a little bit about that Mumbi, whereby it comes from actually the food and the kitchen being the main product that you serve, but also, I've been to Afrika Fusion for dinner or for lunch, and you also find that it's still also a place where people gather, people will have drinks, but that is a secondary aspect. So for you, how does that journey typically go for you?
Thank you for your continued support when you drop in Dallas. Initially the original model for Afrika Fusion was restaurant only. That is how we set it up. It was exclusive food and food being the main product. And that happened for over the years until the last 3 years, 2.5 years. And this is something again, and Mati can assert to this, as you continue running a business, it starts taking its own shape, heading towards a direction based on the need of the clientele that you're serving. So I basically have done food as my primary product, and still is, because that's our number one income. But over the last 3 years, I've seen that changing, and now we are sort of more of doing a lot of late night food, having a kitchen that used to close at 11, 12. Now kitchen staying open until 2 because of having a lot of people coming in late hours for late dinner. And that has brought a lot, of course, a portion of it with nightlife. And this started taking shape with COVID. So COVID has created that vacuum of a nightlife that wasn't part of the model for Afrika Fusion. So with that coming in, we've been able to change a couple of things to adjust to the pandemic. And one of them was actually enhancing a lot of online ordering through various platforms on third-party platforms, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Postmates, Amazon, and all these others coming along. And with the state of Texas even allowing to go alcohol, that has actually promoted a lot of to-go orders and extended our hours from 3 p.m. and cut off 9 p.m. Now we are up to 10 o'clock online ordering because of that portion of the alcohol, which is now the law. And as we go through this or navigate through this pandemic, we are now seeing different aspects, demanding a different line of which will call on us to change our model, because right now we have a lot of messages on orders left with a 2-hour window to be ready. And everybody is trying to take advantage of that, especially the guys who are doing technology. Now, everybody's coming in with a software that will take your orders. Instead of a phone call, you don't have to have a live person. Let's take your order, but it's a 2-hour window, only 2 hours before we open. So if a crew is coming in 2 hours, the crew coming in will find these orders, text message orders or voicemail orders, and have that ready. That is quite a challenge, because we're having more of that now that we're having to control, because too many orders ahead of the time before open. So basically what I'm trying to say is that with the pandemic now, I don't know any restaurant that is working with its original model. And with the challenges that we're having, I'm glad that we're having a lot of solutions based on a lot of software companies, a lot of other third parties, system, POS systems, or other vendors that are coming in to help with that. So the challenge is still there. We still cannot meet the demand. And of course, with our great African community, we don't know how to social distance. We don't come from a community that knows how to social distance.
Oh, she
During
knows
the
how to say
pandemic,
it.
like 2020, when we became 50% open, I every day I closed, I thank God that we were not shut down, because I think we were already 100%. It was a good problem to have. And that is still the thing now, is that, trying to deal with the culture, and we do, respect and acknowledge the disease is there. We are doing our best, but it's pretty hard to try and social distance, especially when we all want to share that one platter. We don't know how to eat, our own food. But with even the challenges, there have been pretty good challenges and good problems to have.
Yeah, that's interesting about social distancing. For the longest time, I think you both reside in states that didn't have the same restrictions that, for example, we had here. Like, we were unable to go out for a tremendously long time.
Yeah.
One of the few times when I actually went out was when I came to Dallas, and everybody was out, and I'm like, "Is this the Twilight Zone? Like, where is this?" It's just surprising. So I definitely know how you're feeling. Mati, I'm going to bring the next question to you. So both of you have touched upon the clientele that actually comes in,
Yeah.
and you've got different people from different countries, but primarily, I mean, like, charity begins at home. So obviously, us being Kenyans, you would expect that there is that obvious Kenyan angle to it. So, if you take a trip back home, if you go back to Kenya and they ask you, where do you guys hang out? Typically, if you say you're from Kansas, very first thing they'll say is, I go to Jambo Grill. Or if you go elsewhere, if you're going to Texas, we all know we'll go to Fusion. So do you guys take that to heart in terms of providing a home away from home for our people? And not just Kenyans. I mean, like, I've been to Fusion and I've found people from everywhere, Zimbo, Zambians, you name it, Americans. So I'll get the question to both of you, but I'll have Mati take this one first. What do you think? What do you think about being that location?
For us, I would say we take heart at it, and especially when it comes to serving the African community in Kansas City. It's a very mixed, diverse Africans out here, and when throughout the journey, let me say on the entertainment side, for example, if I had to book TopDonn as a DJ to come to Kansas, one thing I'll let TopDonn know is that, this is not a Kenyan venue, it's an African venue. And that's only because we realize that we have a lot of other Africans other than Kenyans who support us dearly, So we had to make sure they are taken care of that way, because it's the only home they have pretty much in Kansas City. We are the only African bar nightclub that's running out here. There was one, but I think they closed 2 years ago. So we do take to heart to make sure that everybody, all the Africans that come in there, they feel at home. And one thing we really appreciate is when they tell us that we are happy we are here because it feels like home. And even through the pandemic, there are several times we shut down completely for several months. And people would call us on our phones and be like, when are you guys opening back up? When are we be able to come in out? Because we feel like a part of us is missing, that entertainment part, that part whereby we'd come out and just, dance to African music, see other Africans, it's really bothering us. And we even came out to realize, we are now more than just a business. We are more of a community establishment where people really need us. We can't say we are closing tomorrow because there's a very large population of people in the community that says, you know what, every time I'm in here, I just feel good. I just feel like my problems are gone. I just feel, I'm welcomed. There's no discrimination. There's no like, you're the only colored person in there. There's no being harassed because you're a person of color or anything. They just say we feel comfortable. We feel, we are at home.
All right, for Mumbi.
Yeah, I think I'll probably want to say the same thing as Mati said. That initially, and probably Mati can say, to him it was different because he took over a venue that was already diverse. I established Fusion from scratch, and my main target at that time was the Kenyan clientele, because what I had on the menu was just Kenyan food. So we started having a little bit of Tanzanian tickling in, Ugandan tickling in. So as I continued to expand my cuisine to other parts of Africa, it started pulling in other Africans from different regions of Africa. And it was a good thing because, and you all know those who have done business here, you cannot just depend on one community. You've got to have to diversify and, reach out to other communities for you to be able to sustain the business. And that has been the same thing. So cutting across with the menu, even with the drinks, I have reached out to distributors. We carry Kenyan, we carry a little bit. We used to have Tanzania and Uganda beers. Now I have South African beers. I have Nigerian beer. So we're just trying to cut across from the beverages to the cuisine to continue to draw more. And that also brings a lot of curious locals, the Americans, who want to come and taste the African food and taste the African beverages. And that, again, puts us up in a map and people just wonder. And one thing I know, talking to especially the Africans that have been loyal and have been coming to our place for a very long time, they just, one question they ask, how do you all just hang out together every day, the same people? Don't you get tired? I know that you get that a lot, Mati.
Yeah, we get it sometimes because they don't understand, they don't understand seeing so many happy people and just, people wanting just to be happy and have fun, whereby, like she said,
Exactly.
same people, always hanging out hours and hours, drinking, dancing. Yeah, they're surprised with it. They don't see that a lot.
Yeah. But it's a good problem to have. That's a good one, yeah.
That is definitely a good problem to have. Now, Mumbi, you mentioned about when you founded Fusion in 2011. For those in Dallas that might not know, so it was the location that it's at today is very close to where it was, just down the block. And there was an incident that came in, and unfortunately, somebody either backed into the place or drove into the place or something of that sort. So there've been challenges with keeping that going, in addition to kind of what we had before. So I just wanted you to touch on how you were able to maneuver from the initial location to this bigger location, happened to be bigger than the previous one.
Actually, where I am at the moment was a West Quarter Lounge owned by a guy from Ivory Coast. That is where I started in the kitchen. They didn't have anybody to do their kitchen. So he used to do the club and I used to do the kitchen. And then he was shut down. And at that time, the building was changing ownership. So when they were changing ownership, I managed to talk to the landlord, because right next door to where I am now, which was then West Quarter Lounge, there was a sushi place next door. So that came open. That was my first official place that I had my name on, the lease and permits on right there. And that was only 1,200 square footage. That's where we started. And then after a while, they said they needed that space because Genghis Grill had bought out the place and they wanted to extend their offices. So they had to move me way back down to a bigger space, which originally was a breakfast and lunch only, which now added another 1,200 square footage. Now brought me to 2,400 square footage. That is where I stayed longer, because I stayed there from 2012 to 2018. So that became smaller. So when Genghis Grill closed down, now my current place, which was their test kitchen and test restaurant, because they were a franchise, that's where they were training and cooking and showing all the samples and everything, became open. So I moved back now to my very original place that I started, which is now the Afrika Fusion, now sitting at about 5,200 square footage.
Wow.
I don't know whether I'm going to move again. I'm not sure about that. But
I think
we've been there since 2018. And
right.
The biggest challenge is, number one, I wasn't ever sure that I could fill up that space. Wasn't sure whether we can be where we are today. But it's so encouraging to see that the African community still needed somewhere and bigger to mingle. And with the space came the issue now of me trying to actually finding myself doing nightlife, which, Mati, I'm not an expert in that. I don't know how you do it. But the demand is there, whether you want to close at the restaurant at 11, you still find yourself moving on to 2. And I thank God that I have a late night liquor license. So that also prompted us to try, to keep on trying to do the nightlife.
Yeah,
Now,
Mati, for you.
the
Oh, go
place
ahead.
where I
Sorry.
stayed from 2012 to 2018, that is where we had a drive-through. I call it a drive-through. The guy who drove in through the restaurant, and we just blocked off. The landlord came and blocked out the area that was not secure to work with. The next day, we opened business. We were doing to go. You just have to be resilient to keep on
Yeah.
going, because persistency and consistency is the key to this business with the clientele that we attract.
Yeah, well, I actually got to go on that day. I just happened to be in Dallas at that time, and I got to go because like when you come from out of town, and then you're like, so like I'll speak for myself, but I know a lot of my friends are that way. So if I come from out of town, I'll plan. I'll be like, Leon Taenda, I'll get mbuzi choma or whatever it is the next day. Like I've made a plan. So the next day when there was something happening, I was like, you mean I can't go to Fusion? Apana. I think they've got takeout. Hiyo ndio mimi nataka. That's what I want. So I did that. So Mati, for you on the nightlife angle coming in, I think you talked about how you guys got into the business.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit to that story. I think the initial where Jambo Grill is today was Billy B's, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, it has been, I think, about 5 different things. Originally, it was used to be called Freddy T's. Then it went to Billy B's for the longest, I believe. After that, actually, another Kenyan guy owned it. He called it Liverpool, and then
Yes.
he had a let's say a partnership with the Congolese. Congo, is it Congo? No, it's not. Zaire. Anyway, he had a partnership with somebody else, and they call it Afrobeat. And then after that, it was shut down for almost 3 years, and that's when we went. We went in actually. Like it's funny because the last party that happened there, so the owner shut down. It was us actually. We were out there that Saturday. We had a party, and I think we had invited Shinsky too. And after that Saturday, the place shut down, and it went down for almost 3 years. Nothing was happening there. The landlord had pretty much walked in the building, kind of just removed some stuff out. Just it was a lot. And actually, for us, when we started, we were happy to get the lease. But once we walked in, we looked at the place, we said, "What have we done to ourselves? Like, what the hell is this going on here?" And it took us quite some time because we used to do most of the work ourselves. So we would clock out our day jobs probably maybe around 5, 6, whatever time, and then we spend the rest of the evening, sometimes throughout the night. We would be right there fixing stuff, renovating, painting, building. And that took us about 2 months before we actually opened the place and be like, okay, now we're ready for business.
Yeah, the one that's actually a good segue for where I wanted to go, because I remember the one thing that you did a lot was document that. So,
Yeah.
you would post pictures of you guys remodeling,
Oh, yeah.
putting in all the work. So it's actually out there if you want to go and see. Like this is everybody sees the front end of it. They don't see what the amount of work that happens in the back. And at least it's something that you've documented, and you can go back and tell somebody, look, this is the amount of effort that it actually takes to get the business going. And that kind of brings me to the next point, which is actually just, I think in business terms, they call it founder dependence. So, having the business depending very much on the people that actually founded it, because it takes up a lot of time. It is taxing on, we're all family people here. It is taxing both on yourself and on the family. So, Mumbi, I'll start with you. Like, how do you how do you manage that, whereby you always want to be at the business, but you also have the family going on? So that's a very tough thing to manage. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Don, I'm smiling because I just got off the phone with my son an hour ago, and that's one thing we were talking about. This is a very tough business. It's a hands-on business, especially if you're founding it from scratch, trying to set up your own systems that will work for you and have it run with the model that you have set up. And it has a lot of fatigue, not once, not twice. I can't even count the number of times that I say, this is it, I'm done. I'm not even going to open today. And I'm so done. and I still find myself there in that kitchen cooking, and I've opened my doors. It has taken me many years, actually, I want to say almost 15, 16 years to figure out a way to have it run without my presence, my physical presence there. It has taken a lot of work, a lot of understanding, but I just want to say this because I know you're doing this so that we are able to help those that are coming after us, or those that are just starting, or those that may need this kind of information. I've always said, if we can help you not to step on the same landmines that we did, I'll be very happy to help anybody who is starting a business within the African community. Number one is my biggest problem was learning how to delegate and the trust. You're gonna have to. I had to learn how to delegate and to trust the person that I've delegated for each and every task. And with that came having to learn how to work a lot of systems by engaging skilled labor to help you through this. Engaging systems and processes that are available in this country for better accounting and being responsible. After you go through that, and that time with that fatigue, I myself was so ready to just give it a try, whether it was gonna fail or not, because I'd gotten to a point I couldn't balance being home and having to be at work for more than 16 hours a day. So for those starting businesses, you take advantage of the system that this country offers. Go to your local small business groups or within your counties. They have so many resources that they can provide for you to be able to run a business and just monitor it from your back office. So that's one thing I was going to say. And it took me to be completely drained, fatigued, and admitted in hospital to realize that I wasn't doing myself any good. Yes, I was making the money, but I didn't realize that my health was more wealth than what I was trying to push. So with that, I learned how to do it. Fusion runs now up to 5 months without me, which is good because that shows that it can survive by itself. Still have a couple of things here and there we are trying to straighten out. Have great managers that help me do that. But just again, the most important thing is believing in your employees and identifying them where they work best, where their strength is, and using that, because that's the best. That's when you get the best out of them, when they enjoy to do what they're doing. That's the other thing. The other thing is to trying to bringing in skilled labor, like accountancy. I'm not an accountant. You bring in qualified people. If your budget does not permit that, again, go to your local county small business groups, or where the senator's office is. They have resources available for small businesses. There's pro bono work to help you do and show you how you can do, and their weekly trainings. I'm just putting this out there because I know every state has that and every county has that. So you don't have to go through extensive training, but you'll get all this, and they'll assign you a mentor that is going to work with you, that you'll be accountable to this mentor, somebody who's either owned or has run a restaurant before, or whatever field you're looking for. Thanks, Don.
Well put, Mati. For you, those how do you maneuver those late nights?
I would say it's first of all, if you really know me, for those who know me, right now, I say for the last 2 years, I've been a single dad, raising the kids by myself, and I got 2 boys. And I would say it has taken a lot out of me, because basically my other partners have left me in charge of making sure the place is running. And it's not like they're there, but they know that anything that needs to happen or anything that's going on at Jambo, I'm pretty much the one in charge of it. And so that's been my full-time job, being over there. it has really taken a lot of time, a lot of family time, I would say, a lot of personal time, uh, for me just to be out there making sure everything is running straight. So, but I've also have a way to manage that. If if there's something that I need to take the kids to on Saturday morning, I'll make sure I do it. And then I have my off days, Monday, Tuesday. I tell everybody, my phone is off unless it's emergency, because I want to put that time into family. I want to put that time into my kids. I just spend time with them and just, kind of talk with them, know what's going on in their life, know how school is progressing. And I've come to realize that works very well for me in terms of just having time with family. So my off days, you can't get me on my phone because it's only emergency and family that can really call me. Because it's hard when you have people that they know you personally, and then they left something at the bar or something happened. They're trying to call you on your off day. Oh, you know what? I left my card. I need to get it because ABCD. And you're just at home. Now they expect you to leave everything you're doing just to go care for them because they know you. So having to deal with that for so many years, it came to a place where I said, you know what? The phone, the technology, there's the do not disturb thing for a reason. So on Monday, Tuesday, my phone will be on do not disturb. If you left your ID, if you left your card, you know what? Come back on the next business opening time, because being nice and being like, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes because I live around the corner, it just took away so much from me, because you find yourself being there for that 5 minutes, but again something pops up, and then you find yourself being there for 2 hours, which you could have been spending with your family and doing other things. So I have just learned to make sure that that softness is out of me. Just make sure that I'm running a program whereby if it's my kids' day, it's my kids' day. If it's work day, it's work day. That way I can just separate and just have everything organized in terms of timely manner, whereby I'm having my personal life and I'm also having the business life.
All right. Mumbi, you mentioned something previously, which I wanted to touch on as well, which was the retention and recruitment of good people to work for you in the kind of business that you're in. That I think you've mentioned it. That is one of the very, very key things to be able to get done, and actually trusting and delegating those people. At least in the bar business as well, because sales of alcohol is one of the big revenue generators. You always hear, and I've kind of been in the business, but not actually as an owner. But I hear from other owners complaining that siwezi pata bartender nimetrust, sijui amefanya nini, things of that nature. So I mean, I'm sure you go through that. You both go through that a lot. So I want to hear for either one of you just talk about those sorts of situations.
I think in the kind of industry that we are in, it's known not only for the African establishments, even for the what do you call 5-star, whatever, the kind of in the hospitality industry, or especially the service personnel who are the bartenders, the servers, that crew that does the actual operations of an establishment. It's the retention it's a circle. They go like that. So, but you'll always find a few that will stay with you for a year, 2 years. I've had employees that have stayed with me for even 5 years in the service sector. It's not common. There are some very good employees out there. Let me say that first. But because of the nature of the industry, they wanna some of them want to go with the newest place that has been opened. They want to go with that hype. And that's why the retention of employees in our service industry it yo-yos up and down. So they may leave you, go to the new place that has opened. After a while, they turn around and come back. But because they were good employees and they didn't steal, there's no reason why you shouldn't, rehire them. That's one. And most of them, you'll find them, the longer they have worked in this industry, the more they're more equipped to be able to handle and sustain. And that is why I try to stick with. You've worked in this industry longer, whether you've worked for me or probably worked for Mato, but you had that experience. You can definitely handle a situation in the absence of an owner. So I try to capitalize on that and encourage those that have worked for us longer, just hang in there and come up with a system that is going to motivate. Different employees are motivated by different things. We do our yearly stuff every year. I try to motivate them based on you want to talk to them and see what needs to be done. What are you guys wanting to do? If not, I've encouraged like every other week meetings, which we no longer do now because of COVID. But initially we had a monthly dinner, and I'll take them to wherever they want to go eat, just to appreciate them. And I know other employers don't do that because they don't appreciate their employees, but it's it's just trying to connect to people to let them know that we appreciate what you're doing. Now, when you mentioned about trusted bartenders. It's all from the person who is doing the janitor work all the way up. If one of that person is not trusted along that line, it falls apart. And trust is not something you can instill in somebody. You give somebody the opportunity to show you that you can trust them. So once they show you can trust them, you just give them more responsibilities and tell them and show them that you do. But you will always find one here and there. And I've always said, if you see a bartender that everybody follows, that moves, yeah, I like those bartenders.
What
Some
about
of
those
them are
bartenders?
great because of their interpersonal relationships with their customers. Some of them come because they relate properly with the bartender. There are so many reasons, but for every reason, even a server, very few people would steal. And if they steal, there's a reason they're stealing. Either somebody's just a thief and that's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have proper systems in place, they'll still, at times we know they do, but you just let it go because you look at the bigger picture. They have the advantages of who they are in your establishment outweigh the little things, and those are little conversations you want to have with them personally and privately. And especially now with COVID, they are not employees. Everybody, including the 500 company, 500 companies, they cannot even sustain, or they cannot even recruit employees. So that's a very delicate topic right now. It's one day at a time. I know a company that they even tried working from home. They couldn't because everybody's sick with COVID, and you can't measure how COVID is doing to one person and what it's not doing to the other. So that's a topic we can revisit next year. Hopefully we'll be able to overcome COVID, but it looks like we'll have to coexist with it. And again, it's a challenge. Right now, personnel is going to be the most expensive asset in this company. And that's why technology is working towards eliminating human resource. And for this kind of industry, I don't think we'll ever eliminate human resource.
Don't
Right.
think so either.
Yeah.
Mati, for
Yeah,
you?
just for me, like Mumbi said, it's about the same thing. Mostly, it's about trust and just getting people to, as an owner and also as a person who works there. For me, it's more than just a business or work; it's a passion. Then for you to find somebody who has the same goal or the same drive as you, it's hard. But when you get somebody who's close to that, you tend to keep them, and you tend to work with them in situations. But again, the issue of trust in this kind of business, especially being handling money, handling cash money, it's hard. And I've had different bartenders. I've had somebody who made more tips than the entire bar sold the whole night. So you sit down and you ask yourself, hold on, it's now you sit down and you
Must
ask
be
yourself
nice.
like, hey, something here is not adding up. But again, you're looking at the person, you're like, no, I trust this person. She's not a thief. he or she is not a thief. They're not stealing. So what's going on here? Like, the tip is more than what you saw the whole night. So you have to sit down and, question yourself, have a meeting with yourself, before you actually go to that work and be like, hey, I feel like there's something not working out here. I'm going short on ABCD. And then there's the issue of, like she said, when you have certain employees and you see all the patrons, lining towards them, there's always something about it. Uh, you'll find probably they might be overpowering because that person tips them good. You might find that that person tips them good and they end up giving them free drinks. There's all kind of stuff that go behind there. But sometimes you look at the bigger picture, like she said, and you let some things slide through because, if that person really tips good, the bartender has to show them to, like, hey, we cool, we are together, you're my customer, so next time you're in, make sure you come to me. So we've lost a few good people just because of trust issues and and also there's something I've felt, I don't know about Mumbi on our side, like, when we hire out, like, and the people feel like we Africans, they know we're Africans, they tend not to have the right respect for you because they feel a certain way towards you being an African, being their boss.
Mm-hmm.
It has affected us in some areas, and there's some employees, they just, I would say, certain bad people, certain just people who feel like an African should not be on top, on top of, me in my social life. So we've had certain things like those interfering with it, and then we've had pressure. I would say we are not that busy during certain hours, but again, on a good Saturday night, we might have about 70 to 150 people, and then you find that half of those people are at the bar. These people are Africans. They don't ask nicely. They demand. They demand you serve them right now. I have seen employees break down, like, step out of the bar, went to the back and cry. What's going on? Man, I can't handle this. I always tell them, you're in charge of the bar. Take your time. Don't let these people rush you. It's, certain things have also made us lose some good people because they're like, I can't do this no more. This is just too much. These people are not nice. These people, and it's one thing we tend to do every time we hire new people. We explain to them about the environment because we want them to get familiar with it. And that demanding environment, we let them know, they're not mean, they're not, it's just how it is. So don't feel attacked or don't feel unappreciated. It's just how it is. They will walk in and they will demand for that beer. And they have just walked in. They haven't even turned around, say hi to anybody. No, they walk in and they come to the bar and they demand for that beer. It's like you're waiting for them. And that has also affected, a good number of our employees just not being able to deal with the pressure coming from their clientele. And it's, yeah. And then now with COVID, it's, I would say, it's been difficult, and also being a small business, whereby sometimes when COVID came, we had to switch hours, and then sometimes you're like, okay, these nights are too slow for us. It's better for us to just have the day shut down instead of, just running bills and, having somebody there who's standing the whole day and being like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm doing anything here. So not guaranteeing them enough hours sometimes make them, kind of leave the work. And also there's the fact that being an hospitality business, most of their income is based on tips. So mostly they're paid minimum wage. And then now it comes to again, our brothers, they feel like after all this demanding, they don't want to tip. So a lot of employees at the end of the night, they're counting their tips, they're looking at how much they sweat, and they're like, you know what, this is not worth it. Now they have to leave because they're like, I'm not making nothing here. I'm not making enough even here. and I've been running up and down for the last 4 hours, like literally no break. People just demanding, not even one nice word like, oh, please, no. It's, excuse me, I need. So they feel like they're not being appreciated well enough because people are not tipping them good enough to make them, you know what, tomorrow I'm coming back because I'm going to make more money again. So it has also been a challenge on us because our brothers are not used to doing that. Our brothers and sisters are not used to tipping people good. So it also makes it hard to, to kind of have good employees, sustain good employees because they're looking into that, how much they're making a night.
Is there a way that we can sensitize our people? Because you raise very many good points. One of the ones I had listed down here, which was going to be kind of along the same lines of, Elias, somebody comes to, let's say they come to Jambo Grill, and it's a night where it's there's a cover at the door, and these people, they know you. No, mina jua Mati nilipe kwa nini, I mean, those sorts of things. Or they come to Fusion and it's just like, no, I should get this discount and this, like, and we see that. I mean, we know how this works. We see it across the board. Is there maybe a message we can try to sensitize our clientele and tell them, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't see them doing this at when they go to an American establishment. So why do it at an establishment being run by one of our own?
Again, having been, let's say, pretty much in that cover charge business for so long, there are days I used to be at the door myself when I had events. When I have an event somewhere, I'll be at the door. Probably my brother will be the DJ, and I would have people come to the door and be like, we're going to go in and buy alcohol at the bar. We're going to spend money here. And now being in the ownership whereby I'm expecting you to come in and you want to get to the door, tell my security or whoever's charging at the door, you want to be like, oh, we're going in to spend money. So if you have the money, why don't you start by spending the money at the door? So we've made it whereby we usually say on Saturday night, it's free before 10. So if you feel like you just want to come in and chill and have a good drink and relax, why don't you come before 10? Because we're not charging you. It's free of charge. You can come before 10, hang around and even sit there until we close. But for those who are coming after 10, we have established it whereby there's a DJ playing, it's this entertainment going on, it's ABCD going on. So after 10, we don't really need you to come in and say you want to spend money at the bar. The people that wanted to spend money at the bar without having a cover charge came in early because that was their mind, that was the peace of mind. For whoever's coming after 10, I look at you like you are coming here for the entertainment part of it. So if you're coming for the entertainment part of it, I would expect you to pay for the entertainment part of it because the DJ has to get paid, security has to get paid, and these are things that have been inclusive because of the entertainment part of it. It's not because of the business part of it, So it's been tricky. We've tried to let our loyal customers know. Sometimes I'll be like, just, if you're coming out tonight, send me a text, say I'm coming in, and I'll have you like on a guest list. If you're doing a birthday or you wanted to reserve a table, make sure you do it earlier before, the night kicks in. Don't come at the door and try and call me and say, I want a table. I am too busy to pick up my phone, and it's just something that we tell people. It's not in a bad way, in a rude way. It's just because every time I have to leave something that I'm doing to come cater for you, it's probably taking my time and taking money too out. If I was serving somebody at the bar and you're at the door calling me, I know you're coming to spend money, but now I have to stop serving at the bar, collecting that money to come and serve you at the door, which was something we could have dealt with earlier. So again, it comes to what I call it, the entitlement. Our people feel entitled, especially if they know you. They feel very entitled. They will come and say, hey, you know me, I know Mati, I'm not supposed to pay. And I always tell my security or whoever's at the door, if they know me, let them stay at the side. Let them call me. If I happen to come out, they're lucky. That means they know me. But they can call me what they want, because if you didn't take your sweet time earlier to let me know you're coming out, why you want to take my time now that you're here for me to come serve you? So we try and put just certain things out there for our friends and family, for people just to know, if you're coming here, do this, and it's going to save us a lot of, You don't want to get charged, that's fine. And like you say, when they go to other establishment, they don't even talk. They line up very well. They get to the door, they get their ID, their wallets, they're holding it in their teeth. They're ready. But when they come to us, it's just a headache. And we just, for hours in our business, we just said, we are done bending, because it's about time we break. If we keep bending for them, we just have to stand and keep our foot on the ground. And for the things we believe in, it's more of, if you'd left your house to come to Jambo Grill at this certain time, you know very well there's a cover charge, and you are willing to pay it when you left your house.
Right. So we're coming up to the top of the hour here. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Time just flies when you're enjoying. So once again, this is Conversations with TopDonn. Thank you to everybody who's been watching. I see I see a couple of comments out there. So Vince Odhiambo says, yes, absolutely. He's not really in love with the entitlement aspect that comes with that. I want to throw this to Mumbi because you talked about mentorship. And it's one thing I think you mentioned in the earlier that in the older days, we really didn't have forums, let's say like this particular forum, to be able to talk about your experiences on things that you can give guidance to the new generation that's coming up, because there's a lot of you yourself have a lot of a wealth of knowledge in terms of running a business. So if you were to give advice to yourself, let's say you were from 15, 20 years ago before you started, maybe summarize for some of the key things that you would advise somebody when they're starting out a business that they should look out for, if in a way that you were advising yourself.
Thank you, Don. We run a very tough industry that comes with a lot of tough issues. The number one thing I would really wish is that I had those that were before me have the opportunity to tell me what I'm going to tell others coming up. If you're going to do business in America, regardless of the state you're in, number one is compliance. Do not take corners. No shortcuts. It's going to cost you everything that you put into there. Do not cut corners, comply, do as the law says, get the right permits, get the right everything. Do it by the book. If you're not ready to do that, give it a break, take some more time to get yourself there, because it's going to cost you everything that you've put in there, because this system will take it away from you like that. That's one. If you're targeting a certain community from a certain region of Africa, if you're going to do an African business, start thinking to diversify to other communities. You're going to have to be all around. There is plenty of help, as I'd mentioned again, that is you can pay for and that you cannot pay for. Get informed and get knowledgeable on the kind of business that you want to do. That information is everywhere, right from the nearest university that is close to you that has a business department or offers business degrees. They do have students who will give you pro bono work, from writing a business plan and giving you even projections where you should be. So take advantage of all that. I did not know that. I came to know that so late. Some has been very useful as I've continued to grow, but some it was already too late. I had already been burnt, I'd already paid too much for probably not what I should have gotten. So do your homework. Make sure you understand the business. Don't rely on your auntie to come and help you. Don't rely on your cousin. You'll be very disappointed. And separate business from family and family from business, especially when it comes to financing. If you're going to borrow from family, make sure it's done very professionally. Do notes, promise notes. And there's so many other ways that these days you don't even have to borrow from your family. You don't even have to let your best friend know that you really need that money coming in for you to order those supplies. There's so many ways. And Don, you can always share my number. There's so many resources that you can use right now, and you do your business silently and quietly and work hard. use paid labor, you'll be able to control and give orders. Voluntary labor at times, itakuwa sikujisikia leo kuja, so I'm resting. And business has to open. Thank you, Don, and thank you for having me here tonight.
No doubt. Mati, a couple of parting words of advice.
Two good points Mumbi has mentioned: compliance and the law. Sheria huku ni msumeno na ikatangi kona. So for us, I would say that's the one thing that has really kept us in the business, being compliance with the law, doing everything according to the book. You know, it's a pain, but at the end of the day, you know, you sleep peaceful. You know, you know very well that you're not breaking the law, so everything runs smoothly. Diversifying, like I said again, a good example, like I told you, if I'm bringing a DJ from out of town, probably a Kenyan DJ, one thing I like them to know first is that, you know, this is not a Kenyan house, it's an African house. We have a very diverse crowd of Africans that we love to cater for, because they're the people who have kept us in this business for so long. You know, again, if you expect your own to be your number one supporter and lover, that's not in business. You know, they tend to let you down in ways you don't believe. And one thing, you know, when that text messages hit, like that WhatsApp group comes, it's your own who are doing that. You know, oh, kuna matanga, kuna mazishi, but they forget they need to do the same thing when it comes to business. Be the first people to support your own people, so that when we have all these other activities in the community, we are very enabled to come and do something big, because we see you as not just our customer, but as part of the family. And then also do your homework well, because if I did my homework when it comes to Jambo Grill, I probably wouldn't be operating that business right now. If I knew it came with so much, I would have put my hands up and be like, no, I'm not going to that business. But we did not do our homework. We only had a passion for entertainment and music. So we went in with that passion, and it's what really has given us the heart to go with the business, no matter what it comes with. It's just the passion for entertainment and, you know, making sure that people have a place to come and dance to. That has taken away, you know, what we are pretty much losing in the kitchen, what is going on. It has, you know, a little bit blinded us, because we have the passion for that. So if you're going to go into business, make sure you have heart for it. Make sure you're not expecting to be rich tomorrow and you just started the business. It takes a lot of blood and sweat, a lot of nights and days before you can sit down and really enjoy the fruit. I know, for example, Mumbi said he can go for 6 months right now without being at Fusion, but it took her 10 years to get there. So people need to look at that part of it too. You know, for me, I'd be like, I cannot be away from Jambo for that long, because things might go this way, that way, this way, you know, because we are still working on figuring out a plan on our business, because we're a small business. We started as DJs, but now we are owning a whole business. We are CEOs. We're trying to figure out, you know, we're not a franchise like McDonald's. We don't have a set system on. Then the system comes and goes, as in with time, like COVID came. Whatever system we had before COVID, now we have to change it and settle down for something else. So when you go to business, make sure you have the time to learn and the patience for you to wait for it to, you know, get off the ground. No house is built without a foundation, because the foundation determines how tall the building is going to be, the house is going to be. So you have to make sure you put on the foundation, whereby you don't expect anything out of it. It's just going to be there. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to talk about the beauty of the foundation. No, nobody's seeing it. So you have to just be patient on it. Make sure you have the heart. And like, again, people like us, we are out here. Questions, you know, if you're planning on doing the same thing, you know, just reach out to somebody who you know is doing the same thing, kind of, and just ask questions. You know, just people will be people, like, if you don't ask, you'll never know. And people in business, I've come to understand a lot of people in business are willing to give you the information you need, because they don't want to see you going through the same thing.
You're right.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much both for those kind and very knowledgeable words. That's why we had you on the show. Once again, folks, this has been Conversations with TopDonn. We're here Thursdays, 7 p.m. Central. I want to thank the panelists, Mumbi from Afrika Fusion. If you're in Dallas, you know what? For both the establishments, I really don't even need to let them know. They already know. But in case you do not know, if you're in Dallas, make sure you go and check out Afrika Fusion. And if you're in Kansas City, you will pass by Jambo Grill. We'll thank the guests, the panelists one more time. And thank you, the viewer, for participating and joining. If you don't mind, for both Mumbi and Mati, I will put your contact information in the description of this video in case somebody wants to reach out for you for advice, which I'm sure they will, as you've indicated. And we will talk again next time. Thank you, viewers, and we will see you next week. Asante.
Asante, TopDonn.
Bye.